Welcome back to Friday Crypto. My name is Chase, level 1 CMT and full-time trader. Today we're going to look at Bitcoin. Now, Bitcoin's not one of my most popular videos, but I do have a good fan base, and a lot of them do love some updates occasionally on Bitcoin, and we don't do it nearly enough. Just nobody really watches it, but I know it's important for some of you, and that's why we're making it. It's definitely the market leader and the market mover. So that's what we're going to look at today. We're going to start off on the 4-hour, then zoom out to the bigger pictures. But if you want more content on Bitcoin, you got to join my Patreon group. We talk about it there every day. There's nothing that's going to surprise us. We look at all the ins and outs on every time scale possible. So if you want more help navigating the market, join us there for this upcoming bull run. I think you'll be glad you did. Okay, so let's get right to it. The 4-hour chart to start us off with here. Now, our swing lows all the way down just in the 40K range, right? 41 to 40. But what happens if we go down here again, right? There's going to be something different this time. So if we go down here, do you spot it yet? Right? We're only on the 4-hour chart, so take it with a grain of salt as much as possible. But if we go back down here, and even if we put in a higher low, say we come back to like 41.2, are you going to be still okay? Well, technically, yes, because you're putting in a higher low, but there's something in the room that's pretty blatant and obvious. And you'd be a little bit more bearish if this happens, if we revisit this, because you'd break this moving average, and that is the 200 EMA. When you do that on any chart you're looking at, that's a warning sign that the bears are maybe coming out in a bigger way. So that's what I'd be watching for between now and the New Year's, right? This is Friday, December 29th. You have a couple of days left here till the weekly close, till the New Year. If we're below this, you got to shift your at least sentiment a little bit more bearish, or at least have a more open mind, okay? Why is that? Well, I'm glad you asked. Let's zoom out. When is the last time we were below the 200 EMA? Maybe even just on the 4-hour. Is it a couple of days? Maybe a week? Maybe a little bit longer than that. Do you see what I'm talking about here? Right? When is the last time you see price action below this 200? Even on the 4-hour chart? You got to go back to October. October, right? That's a pretty good amount of time. We're now working on potentially 3 months. October, November, December, January. We could be in January before we're hitting that again, but that would be a sign, right? You want to keep eyes open for things that are starting to occur that haven't occurred in a long time, right? That's your heads up, right? So the most I would zoom in is this 4-hour chart, right? Anything beyond that is really hit or miss, right? Too many fake outs on the hourly, the 5-minute, the 15-minute. But the 4-hour chart could still, be where your kind of sweet spot is to really fine tune your leg up on said competition, right? To get it to be a one step ahead. Now, we're already starting to shift a little bit more bearish here because your moving average is moving down. You're now closing multiple candles under the 100, but we've been there before, right? We've been there before. The big elephant in the room on the 4-hour chart has got to be this level. So as of right now, that's 41.5. If you see price action under 41.5, please have more of an open mind than you may have now, that we could potentially be reversing to the downside. It's not ipso facto 100%. Nothing's 100% in crypto, but uncertainty, right? You have nothing certain, but uncertainty. Nothing. There's no indicators that are 100% either, right? So don't let anyone sell you on that idea. But all you have is the odds. So I'm trying to paint a picture of the best odds of what happens in Bitcoin. Now, let's say we go up higher, right? We always want to look at both sides, bullish and bearish sides. Okay, let's paint this picture, right? Not much of a zone here, right? Here's our minor resistance zone at 44K, 44 to 44.1. We start closing above that, all bets are off. We could make a super pump, right? We absolutely, right? You want to look at both failure points from both directions. So for the bears, they want to close under 41.5. The bulls, they just got to close over 44, and that is the likely direction for the foreseeable future, at least until early next week, right? Minimum. If one of those breaks, whichever of these breaks first, right? Certainly if we're down in this zone, but I would paint this zone a little bit bigger, right? We want to include this 200 in this zone. So this is our bearish zone, and certainly starting to pick up bearish momentum below here and bullish momentum above here. Until then, right, we're just chopping around. You're leaning a little bit more bearish now on this chart because look at the Bollinger Bands, right? They're pinching, but now they're starting to diverge from each other. At the same time, your prices are below the median line and below majority of moving averages. In fact, all moving averages, but the biggest moving average, the 200. So watch that over the next couple of days, couple of hours, couple of sessions, and then we can move up and see if the same thing holds true on the daily chart. Does it? Well, the Bollinger Bands are pretty compressed here, but look at our swing lows on the daily. Similar in this same zone from the 4 hour, same zone. However, there's a bigger anomaly that you want to be watching for on this chart than the 200. The 200 is way the hell down here, right? We don't need to pay attention to the 200 yet on the daily chart yet. Now, what we do need to be watching for is the anomaly on this one. Now, let's remove volume for just a minute because I think it makes it a little bit too busy here at the bottom, right? So volume's gone. We'll put that back in a minute. That's important on some higher time frames. But this chart, what's the obvious level? Well, these are the same levels for the breakouts, right? That's still clear. So those are still holding true there. But just like the 4 hour had the 200 EMA that you want to be paying attention to, the 4 hour chart, the most important line, the 200 EMA. The daily chart, what's the most important line? It's the 21-day EMA, this yellow line. Look at where we held it, right? Hold it here. Hold it here. Support, support, support. Look what's happening now. Now, it's important not to judge the candle before it closes. We still have 7 hours, so depending on when you watch this video, did we close under here? Did we close above it? If we close below it, realize it's been some time since we've closed below that, right? We're going all the way back. Here's December, early December. Now we're going back to November, right? Not a decisive close, right? We'll hold the line. We'll count that, right? We'll give it benefit of the doubt because we did move up, in fact. Kind of controlling bars, bearish candle, followed up by a bullish candle, kind of a fake out, but hold the line, support, support, up again, right? You got to go way back. Again, in October. It's been since October since we've been below the yellow 21-day EMA, and that was very brief, but you can see how things really start to pick up once you start to hold that as support and really lift off from it, okay? So that is the most important line I'd be watching on the daily chart. The 21-day EMA, you could see we're really testing our patience with the bulls here. If we close under here, that shifts the odds to the bearish side. If we close 2 under here between today and tomorrow, say we close here today and tomorrow we close another one, that's a much higher conviction rate that we're going lower. Much higher. Keep that in mind. Not only that, we're below the median line on the Bollinger Bands. That's right here. It's 42.8 is the median line on the Bollinger Bands. As long as you're below that, you're a little bit more bearish than bullish as well. All these things together start to paint a little bit of a picture. Okay, so let's zoom out one more time to the weekly scale. Do these zones really hold the candle? Not really. So let's get rid of those, right? We're really more or less just consolidating after this big move on the weekly chart, right? We're way the hell up here. We're still macro bullish because we're above all moving averages. So by definition, yes, you're in an uptrend. So by definition, yes, bullish, right? Uptrend. However, we would love a test of the weekly EMA 8. We haven't done that in 11. We're working on 11 straight weeks. That is unhealthy. You need to retest. You kind of think of it as a refueling station. You got to test an EMA 8, a 14, or a 21. In any bull run, you can go back and look for a past decade for Bitcoin. Multiple tests of the 8, 14, and 21. Multiple. Even in the most bullish of times, you're testing all 3 of these moving averages, especially the highest one, the EMA 8. You're bouncing of almost all the time. It's been 11 weeks since we've touched this. We need a little bit of a refueling, right? To say the least. So the first EMA 8 on the weekly chart for Bitcoin is 40K, like right on it, right? Don't panic if we go down here, right? You're still macro bullish. You're still bullish on any coin as long as it's above the 21 week, and that's 35K for Bitcoin. So don't lose your mind if we start to go down a little bit, right? We're just refueling, right? You can't go on a road trip and think you're not going to stop, right? Solar cars are not real yet. We can get a little bit extra mileage, but until we come up with a non-refueling 100% solar power car, we're going off on tangents again, right? So hopefully you see what I'm trying to paint the picture of here, right? Okay, so that's that on the weekly. Now, what I do want to show couple important things to be looking at, actually on the volume side of it, right? Let's go look at volume. So volume, looking at this chart, what do we notice, right? Volume right here on the weekly is mostly bullish, but we're starting to get a little bit of sell volume this week. So you want to be watching for that. If we get a move down to, let's say, 40, and this red volume spike comes way up here, right? That's also a sign of confirmation, right? Volume kind of confirms or denies said trend. So we've had much higher above buy volume. Okay, so we're still good. This is why we continue up. Above average buy volume. Let's go look at it on the daily real quick. Look at that volume, right? The past 3 out of the past 4 days have been sells, and pretty large sells, right? Much larger, right, than we've had, right? The previous sell volume was pretty massive right here, and look at that was our biggest move down, right? So you want to look at volume, pay attention to that. If you see a big move, it needs to be confirmed by volume, right? So just keep that in mind. One more thing, let's go look at the total crypto market cap, right? If you're still with me. This is all of crypto combined. So this is on the daily. Let's go out to the weekly. And this hopefully might paint a bigger picture for you. So for those of you that have stayed this whole video, this should kind of be the cherry on top. Perhaps a local top is in, right? If we zoom way out here on the total crypto market cap, where was our previous resistance? You got to look left. Right back here at our initial bear market drop, or bull market drop, right? July of 2021, right? That low. Look at our initial move up in the bull market. Our initial high, resistance. Come back down again. Look at our next move up. Previous support turns into new resistance. Does this rhyme? Yes, it's almost an exact rhyme, right? Previous support turns into new resistance. Previous support turns into new resistance. So if this is in fact our local top, where would we look to kind of reaccumulate all these coins, and where could we look to see a potential reversal back to the upside? It's a little bit down, right? So don't lose your mind. We're looking about 20% market wide if we were to do this. Now, it doesn't mean it has to do it today, tomorrow, next week, next month, but we're looking at potentially the next 3 months of a kind of a drawdown. Wouldn't that, has anybody talked about that? If the answer is no, more people are talking about up, then maybe you should start opening your mind a little bit. Especially if January comes and you see we're around 40K for Bitcoin, or thereabouts lower, maybe this scenario starts to play out. Now, again, this is just kind of my kind of feel and prediction, and I know it's not a popular one right now, but what else would kind of back this up? Well, I'm glad you asked. Why don't we look at this volume right here, and this volume didn't go exactly as planned. It was going to be a perfect one. These two volumes right here. Two biggest sell volumes in almost all year, right? And if you stack those, of course, it supersedes everything. Going back to our bear market final capitulation volume. Look at that sell volume. Market wide, 2 out of the past 3 weeks, major sell volume, much larger than average. Based on that and this chart, I could say it's higher percent chance that the local top is in than it's not. Obviously, nothing's guaranteed, nothing's certain, but at least look at this chart and don't say that we're definitely going higher, right? I know a lot of people are saying that. Biggest sell volume we've seen in months and months and months. At the same time, we're at previous support flipping to potential resistance. Time will tell. We have 2 days, 8 hours till this weekly candle closes. Watch how it shapes up. Is it going to shape into dark cloud cover where it closes down below 1.56 trillion? Right? That'd be a warning sign. Is it going to shape up to be a shooting star? Potentially. Not really textbook looking just yet. Going to be an indecision candle. That's kind of where we are now, spinning top, where you have equidistant wicks to the up and low side. We'll see how this candle closes. Will be telling. if we close down here, very likely we're going down. That might not be what you want to hear, but maybe what you need to hear. If you want more coverage, more help, I'm always happy to help. Join our Telegram group, our Patreon group. You get access to private Telegram. That's linked below, should be. Otherwise, just let me know. I can send you a link. Very, very inexpensive for what you get, in my opinion. You can try us out for a month. If you don't like it, feel free to leave, right? Great bunch of people in there. And we learn a lot every day. So hopefully, if you want to see more, you want to stay up to date, you want to see more stuff like this, you want to see more indicators, I teach you how to fish versus just fishing for you like all the rest of the YouTubers, right? They just tell you what you want to hear usually and never try to teach you anything. I'm here to teach you, so you don't need me. And you don't need anybody, right? You can do it yourself, right? All right, I'll see you on the next one. Let's get to our quote of the day. It is a decent one. It's a great one. It's one of my favorites all time. If you can't, you must. And if you must, you can. Tony Robbins. I'm sure you all know who he is. Good stuff. Car of the day. One of the original Bentleys. If you're like, what the hell is that? It looks awesome. Well, yeah, Bentley. Look at this logo. Why did they get rid of this? It's like the Flying Spur, right? If you ever heard of the Bentley Flying Spur, I think that's where it came from. But amazing looking logo there. Why the hell would they not continue with that is beyond me. But I think Rolls-Royce did, right? It looks similar to a Rolls-Royce at this point. But I mean, look at that. It went for $1 million. It was an auction I was at, a couple of years ago. I don't think this guy owns it, but we know what age group this guy's in, don't we? I think you have to show your AARP card to get those shoes. All right, I'll end it there. See you on the next one. Let me know if you have any questions. I appreciate you watching this long. If you have, kudos to you. 57 gold stars, and I'll see you soon.